to knit slip stitch mosaic stripes.
Here is a close-up of that beautiful Ruana that's done in the slip stitch mosaic striping. And you can see here that it's a really beautiful stitch pattern because it zigzags for each stripe, which just gives a little more unique eye-catching pop than just a regular horizontal stripe. But what I also wanted you to see is that it even gives a little bit of a texture if you did it in one color. So you could do this in 4 colors like I did for the Ruana. This one was done in 4 colors of Be So Brave yarn, Huckleberry Pie, American Beauty, Flamingo, and Waves of Green. And for today's demonstration, I'm going to show you also how to do this, but with 3 colors. And today I'm going to be using Huckleberry Pie, Flamingo. Let's get started. This particular stitch pattern is worked over a multiple of 3 plus 2. We're going to start by casting on. So our first stitch is a slip knot. You want to slip it on to your needle, snug it up. Then with your working yarn in back and your tail in front, you want to cast on however many stitches you want for the width of your project. If you're looking to make the Ruana, I'll have a link in the video description for you to find out all the information on how to make that one. And if you're going to make a scarf, a hat, or any other type of project, you're going to want to make sure that you cast on in a multiple of 3 plus 2. And what that means is that you cast on 3 stitches repeatedly, and then after you're done and you're close to the size that you want, you cast on 2 more. So it'd be 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, which would be 3 times 5 or 15, and then you'd add 2 more. So a multiple of 3, any multiple of 3, plus 2. And so for the demonstration, I'm not going to cast on many stitches because you'll understand what to do very quickly. We have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we'll do 12 is a multiple of 3, right? It's 4 times 3. So we'll just add 2 more to even it up. Okay, so we have our stitches cast on, and now we're going to want to start with our first row of the pattern. Our first row would be to knit 2, okay, then we're going to slip 1 purlwise like that, and then knit 2. And so our repeat for the rest of the row now is to slip 1 purlwise and knit 2. Slip 1 purlwise, knit 2. Slip 1 purlwise and knit 2. And this would be a right side row. We're going to turn our work, and for the Ruana we did this in a stockinette base, which means we did purling on the wrong side row. You could also do this with a garter stitch base, which would mean that you would knit on every wrong side row. I'm going to purl on the back side, so we'll just purl across this row. Okay, so we're going to change our color now. And for our next row, I'm going to grab Flamingo. And we're going to knit 1, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 3. Okay, so now we'll turn our work and purl across, Okay, now I want to pick up my original color, Huckleberry Pie, and I'm going to start the third pattern row, which is to knit 3. Make sure you grab the right yarn. We're going to knit 3, then slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, and knit 1. Okay, we'll turn our work and purl across this row. And you should be able to start seeing the zigzag pattern in the stripe. Notice we only did 2 rows of the pink, but it has that zigzag effect already because of the slip stitches. See how even in some of the sections it looks like you only did 1 row of pink? That's because we did slip stitches, and it slips that other color, and that's what gives you that illusion of doing something other than just those horizontal stripes like we actually did physically with the yarn. So now I'll pick up the pink again. And actually we're done with the pattern repeat now as well. It's a 6-row pattern repeat. And if you notice, the pattern is knit 2 and slip 1, or slip 1 and knit 2. And so depending on where you start or end in the row, because of those 2 extra stitches, it varies. So we start this row with knit 2. And that's the first row we did at the beginning of the project as well. Slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2. We'll turn our work. Now, I don't know about you, but I love being able to memorize my pattern so I'm not looking at the paper anymore. And honestly, however you like to knit is totally your prerogative. If you prefer to read every line, I'm not suggesting that that isn't fine too. It doesn't matter. But if you're someone like me that likes to memorize things, what's great about this pattern is if you just remember the sequence 2, 1, 3, you remember what to do at the beginning of the row for each of these 3 pattern rows. So we just did a 2, so now the next one would be a 1, which means we knit 1 first before starting our repeat. So we'll knit 1 and then start a repeat of slip 1, knit 2. And again, if you just want to read the pattern, that's totally fine. Make sure you follow the link in the video description below and you can get the entire pattern. Whether you're making the Ruana or just wanting the stitch pattern to make anything you want. We end this row with a knit 3. Okay, turn our work and purl. I think when we have a few rows completed of this swatch, it's going to be really fun to compare it to the different types of stripes that we did on the Ruana as well. Okay, I'll do one more row. So the next one would be the 3rd repeat row again, which is a knit 3 to begin the row. So we start with knit 3, and then we slip 1, knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip one, knit two, slip one, and knit one. Turn our work and purl across. Slip stitch mosaic striping is something that's a little bit dense, so you do want to keep in mind that if you're doing anything with slip stitches, it does make your fabric a little more dense. So please keep that in mind when choosing yarn or deciding what kind of project you want to do with a stitch pattern like this. For something like the Ruana, it's absolutely fantastic because it's an outerwear garment. An outerwear you would love to be a little bit thicker than an average fabric. So here I can show you the difference. This is just a 2-color, 1 repeat of each color, and you can see it just has that slight little zigzag in each of the stripes. Even though you watched me, all I did was knit across each row, so it should have just been straight horizontal striping. But because of those cleverly placed slip stitches, we get this really beautiful effect that looks far more fancy than what we actually did. And here it is again in 1 color, so it's even beautiful in a 1-color texture. And here I did a sequence of colors where I went in one direction with the color and then back out in the opposite direction. So like let's say that that's main color, contrast color 1, 2, 3. Then I went back to main color, then back 3, 2, 1. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can come up with a sequence of patterns. So even if you wanted to make this Ruana, but just do a different set of striping, you could do 2 sets of rows in each color. You could alternate how wide each row gets. I mean, really, the sky's the limit when it comes to striping. And the fact that the stitch pattern gives you all of this texture, it really does a lot of the work for you. So you can really make it as simple as you want, and it still looks really fantastic. Make sure you go to my website to get the free pattern for this Ruana and the stitch pattern if you'd like to design something else with it. The information on the yarn, Be So Brave, is also available there. All of that and much more is in the video description below.